Sanatkumara is a divine being and has been with Earth for millions of years. In metaphysics, Sanatkumara is known as the planetary logos. In the Bible, the Ancient of Days. In Hinduism, Lord Muruga, the originator of the Yoga Sutras. In the Hawaiian religion, he's known as the god Ku. In the Mayan religion, he's known as Quetzalcoatl. Sometimes I have a hard time saying that name. But Sanatkumara has been with us for a very long time. It's like a force field of energy that is woven through our own souls. So in essence, you already know Sanatkumara. But Sanatkumara isn't one of those deities who wants to be worshipped. So you very, very rarely hear anything about him. His teachings are about you. How is it that you can know yourself more deeply? He's the energy that brought us those Yoga Sutras. In the Yoga Sutras it says, know thyself. It is the energy that brought Krishna to the planet, the energy that brought Jesus and Buddha to the planet. If it wasn't for Sanatkumara, Jesus would never have been here. So Sanatkumara is perhaps a deity that works behind the scenes. The great yogi in India, Sai Baba, who recently passed on, he believed that his energy came from Subramanya. And at his ashram, he had a huge statue to Sanatkumara. So Sanatkumara has most of his recorded history in Hinduism. Once you connect with that energy of Sanatkumara, you are kind of like in the fold of that energy and forever protected. My role with Sanatkumara came very early. When I was a child, I spoke to like an energy, like an imaginary friend that never really went away. That energy was Sanatkumara. I learned later that Sanatkumara had come to me when I was about 2 years old. I don't remember that time, but I do remember speaking to a father-like figure that would always answer back to me. And I thought that was perfectly normal. I just thought everybody had that, and maybe they did, but they started to ignore that part of themselves. As I went through college, I lived a fairly normal life in Cleveland, Ohio. I went through college. I dabbled in a little astrology and tarot cards and the Ouija board when I was in high school. I ate organic in the 1970s and drank purified water. I had a very different lifestyle from that typical Midwestern lifestyle. After college, I went to New York City and I would sit with these yogis. I was very drawn to that culture, the yogis and the meditation and Hinduism, really not knowing why, because I was raised typical Roman Catholic in Cleveland, Ohio. And from there, I would sit with these yogis, and one time a yogi said to me that I would experience nirvana in this lifetime. And quite frankly, I was so unconscious that I just thought it was a restaurant in Midtown Manhattan. I had no idea. So from Manhattan, I went to Los Angeles in the early 1980s when channeling was just beginning. And I became privy to the most incredible channeled material. I actually took a class to learn how to channel, and at that time the energy of Sanatkumara came through but did not identify itself as that energy. And it was very common back then to ask who's coming through. That was when the Michael material came through, the Seth material, Bashar, the White Brotherhood, the Ashtar Command. All that energy was flooding through humanity, especially in Los Angeles. And so it was very common to ask who's coming through. And every time I asked, the energy would say to me, it doesn't matter, make up a name. So I made up the name Jonathan, which I learned later means I am the sun. And so that energy started to channel through me. I was sitting in a channeling in Los Angeles doodling one evening, and it felt like something sat down next to me on the sofa, and I wrote out on the pad, "You can now call me Sanatkumara." And I was in shock. I could have asked the channel. It didn't even dawn on me to ask the channel. I just took that pad of paper and tucked it into my pocket until the following day and said to one of my friends, "Who in the heck is Sanatkumara?" And that whole unfoldment of who Sanatkumara is became more and more apparent to me. I was guided to a woman in Southern California who channeled the White Brotherhood, and in the channeling, Sanatkumara had revealed that I was chosen as the first of the 144 masters to serve the light, and that I was the emissary of Sanatkumara, a spokesperson, so to speak. I don't channel in the traditional ways. I was very reluctant to step out of my body like some trance channels do, like the Abraham, or there was a channel called Mafu who just totally negated, or Lazarus, they totally negated the physical body. I was a little bit more stubborn than that. And so I consciously channeled. And over the years, what has transpired is an integration of that energy of Sanatkumara into this physical body. Now, sometimes I can feel that energy getting more intense. Sometimes I speak more rapidly when the energy is coming through, and it is more masculine in its deliverance. But most times I try to soften through the feminine vehicle the energy. But it's so integrated. It's not something that I can leave at home or pack in a suitcase. It's always with me. It's an amazing process. People feel it when they're in session with me, or they feel this incredible loving energy in workshops. It's an amazing experience. It opens people's hearts. It changes their lives. Sometimes people feel it in their jaw, or they get a little buzzing headache, but that's their own resistance. Sanatkumara is like the big flashlight, shining that light of awareness on all the things that need to be healed within inside a person. I call Sanatkumara like a CEO of Earth, because he's set up all the systems that we use, you know, like what comes around goes around, the mirror or reflection process. You know, that process that you can look into another person and see all the things that you need to heal within inside of yourself. I look at it like this. Look at your best friend and start judging the heck out of that person. Start criticizing everything that you dislike about that person, because all you're doing is allowing yourself to heal more deeply and more profoundly. And there's so much more that Sanat has shared with me over the years. I speak to Sanatkumara almost daily in meditation, and Sanatkumara's energy works more in silence, and again does not want to be worshipped. Sanat suggests that you build an altar to yourself. Here's a perfect opportunity for you to start really loving your own self unconditionally by building an altar somewhere in your house. Put a picture of you, put flowers, your crystals, everything that you would for another deity, but really start honoring you. That's self-love. Self-love is acceptance, honoring, and nurturing. And how much do you really, really love yourself unconditionally? In fact, I dare you to love yourself unconditionally. So the energy of Sanatkumara and I, and the purpose of all of this, is to help you get to know that inner you more profoundly, more deeply, more satisfying, so that you live a happy life. You know, God doesn't want you to suffer, so why are you? The purpose of me being born in this Western culture is for you to have a mentor, to allow you to see that you too can be enlightened. You too can have this ability to live life differently. My goal is to get you awakened, happy. And in happiness, you're contagious. Everybody wants to know what you have. And that's how we shift our world. That's how we shift our consciousness and wake up. Namaste.